Hello and welcome to this edition of Censor This Conservative Podcast. Today we're going to talk about the New York shooting suspect, migrants arriving in D.C., some Biden bloopers, and some other quick headlines. So, with this New York shooting suspect, complete double standard by the media here. I think that's been pretty evident and pretty clear. I mean, he is a self-described black nationalist, and he's anti-white, and he's a clear bigot who hates white people. In fact, he even said in one of his videos that I am not going to play because I don't want to give this guy 15 minutes of fame, that blacks and whites should not mingle together. A.E. segregation. I thought we were past that as a country. He didn't like newly named Supreme Court Justice Brown being married to a white man. He made a big deal about that. So apparently he doesn't like white men marrying black women, which I really could honestly care less. As long as you're happy. Just marry whoever you want. I don't really give a damn. But let's be real here. If this was a reverse race, and this was a white person saying that I don't like white women marrying black guys, I don't like black people, I don't like black people, I think they should separate themselves from white people, that would be front page, and especially if he went and shot people because he hates people. If a white guy shot a black guy out of hate like that, there'd be front page headlines, front page news story, front of the news, talk about it for a week, talk about it for a month. They would never shut up about it. And rightfully so. When there's a hate crime like that, and somebody kills another person based off of the skin color, they should not shut up about that. They should talk about that for a while. But this black person shot up a subway because he hates white people, because he has so much hate in his heart for white people and so much distaste for white people. He did it because he hates them. This is a hate crime, clearly. But and then it's just dropped within seconds. Seconds. Because the person's black. And they don't want to make black people look bad. They don't want to make the black race look bad. And so they take this guy who's a self-proclaimed black nationalist, black supremacist, and who did something that is really horrible and horrendous, and no coverage. And when they were describing the suspect, they didn't even mention his skin color. They mentioned on this one newscast, they did not mention his skin color at all, and it was known at the time. But they mentioned what he was wearing, which, what he's wearing can easily change. They don't want to make the race. Okay. This guy was so filled with hate, he shoots 10 people and went on a racist rant while doing so. Again, the double standard is just disgusting. If this was a white person, you would never hear the end of it. But because he's black, they drop it within seconds. And let's not forget, the media is accountable with this, because CNN, MSNBC, the mainstream media, they sit there day in and day out, and they say white supremacy, the white race, white people, racism is the number one problem in this country. And white people are a threat. They have this whole narrative, this anti-white, it basically is an anti-white narrative. White people are the problem for everything. White people are the reason everything bad happens. Systematic racism. And they push all this on the people. And then this guy took that information, these lies, in from the media, from CNN, from MSNBC. He took those in, those lies caused him to hate enough where he went and did this. So the media is definitely accountable in this shooting, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. They pushed the lies. The black man then believed those lies, which created the hatred, which was the ultimate reason. And frankly, this guy posts some really alarming and disturbing stuff on social media. Why was these obvious examples of racism allowed to be posted in the first place on social media? He literally talked about how he hates white people and the white race. How is it that stuff allowed on social media, yet somebody talking politics and political opinion, conservatives are censored? So we got conservatives being censored, but this overt racism and bigotry being allowed on the platforms such as YouTube and Facebook, where this guy had profiles. They were very vague when they described his description, because obvious reasons. They don't want to point out that this was a black man, and he was a clear racist. And they believe that you can only be racist if you're white, which is completely absurd. So, they didn't really discuss this story as they should have. Now, to the second topic, migrants from D.C. So, Greg Abbott, Texas governor, who, in my opinion, has some rhino tendencies, but finally made a good decision. He said he was talking last week that he would be sending migrants from Texas, putting them on charter buses, and sending them to D.C. And I thought that was just, talk, to stir up the pot a little bit. But he actually did it. As of now, taping this Saturday morning, 3 buses have arrived in D.C. full of illegal immigrants. And this is great. I mean, if the Biden administration, or the Biden regime, for that matter, is going to sit there and not do anything and just allow thousands of illegal immigrants to come into this country every single day, putting them right in Biden's backyard, right in the capital city of D.C., hopefully will make our politicians a little bit uncomfortable, and maybe they will be forced hand to do something finally about this disastrous crisis. They could have kept the wall up. That would have at least limited, not fixed, but limited some of it. But again, I guarantee you, if they invaded Biden's house in Delaware or Pelosi's house in California, they'd be quick to deport them out of the area. But when they invade our country, they don't deport them out of the area. They welcome him with open arms. So, Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, said this was a PR stunt. Well, I hope you're happy now, because this was one heck of a PR stunt. More buses are scheduled to come into the wonderful city of D.C. Now, Greg Abbott would not denounce Carl Schwab and the World Economic Forum on video, so I really kind of never will trust him. Frankly, I don't trust any of the politicians, political leaders, or ruling class. But, which brings me to the immigration issue. I honestly think there's really no easy solution to this. I think that I'm against illegal immigration, and I think everybody should do it legally, go through the proper channels. But there is a problem. I think we need to have immigration limits or something, because this country is already overpopulated enough, and the more immigrants you welcome in on a yearly basis, the more product you have to make just so they can live their lives, the longer hours people have to work. I mean, back in the 50s, you used to be able to have one parent, the man, would go to work, he'd work a day, he'd work a week, and he'd be able to support a family, have a house, make a decent living. Now, in some spots, in some places, 2 parents can work, and you still don't have enough to survive off of and live off of. And that's largely because everything in price has gone up, because when the demand for a said product goes up, the price naturally goes up as well. So you've got the demand for things going up because too many people live in the country, so the demand for things go up. So the price of everything goes up. And then on the other side, the demand for things goes up. So people have to work harder and they have to work longer to produce to up the production of the price of the, or to update and to up the production of the product, because more people equals more want for the product, which equals the price of the product to go up, but it also increases the amount of labor, the time, the energy that has to go in to producing the product, which means longer hours and harder work. So harder work, longer hours, and high prices are a result of just more people in the country, which is why we're in such a pickle now, because for months places were closed and not producing things with the pandemic, scamdemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. And that's, nothing was produced for months, and so now is where we're arriving at the issue of inflation in the prices, because when you don't produce something and there's still a demand for that product, prices go up. Anyway, now to some comedy for your week. We'll get to some Biden bloopers. So first blooper of the day will be when Biden got pooped on. Thank you, God, and thank you, Mother Nature, for this wonderful, wonderful clip of Biden getting pooped on by a bird.
We're doing to lower costs for American families and put rural America at the center of our efforts to build a future that's made in America. And that's not hyperbole. It's about being made in America. A lot of that has to do with this industry. I just had a chance to see the work you do here and turn more than 40 million bushels of local corn into 130 million gallons of ethanol.
During Joe Biden's ridiculous inflation speech earlier today, something strange happened. A mysterious object seemed to fall on the president's lapel. Take a look. Look at that. Can we get a little zoom in on that? Falling from the sky, our crack team of investigators took a closer look. Uh-oh.
Next up, we have Biden's speaking gift. Tell me if you can translate or understand what is coming out of the mouth of the President of the United States, the biggest world leader.
Is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping, traveling with him. I guess we traveled 17,000 miles when I was vice president. I don't know that for a fact. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping, traveling with him. I guess we traveled 17,000 miles when I was vice president. I don't know that for a fact.
Now, Biden finishes up his speech, goes and turns like he's going to shake someone's hand, but there's nobody there. We'll play that.
America. God bless you all.
And lastly, in the Biden gaffe section, Biden says he was a college professor for 4 years. That is a blatant lie. Biden was never a professor of any school or college.
Educating the future of this country. And I've been impressed. I've been on a lot of university campuses. Matter of fact, for 4 years, I was a full professor at the University of Pennsylvania. And this is really an impressive place with a lot of impressive students.
All right, now to some quick headlines before we wrap up this episode. Dr. Fauci says natural immunity is natural immunity is best, and there's no point in getting the vaccine if you've already had the virus. Except that was with the flu and this is with COVID. So Mr. Fauci is a flip-flopping liar. in other words.
But she's had the flu for 14 days. Should she get a flu shot?
Well, no. If she got the flu for 14 days, she's as protected as anybody can be, because the best vaccination is to get infected yourself.
And
So
she should not get it?
if she really has the flu, she definitely doesn't need a flu vaccine. If she really has the flu,
She should not get it again
no,
this
she
year?
doesn't need it, because it's the most potent vaccination is getting infected yourself.
Wonderful opinion there, coming from the goddess himself, Dr. Fauci. Guy thinks he's God, but he's not. Let's be real. Guy needs to be fired. Former Arkansas politician Sarah Palin has announced a run for a U.S. House seat. John McCain the Rhino, and Sarah Palin was, if you look back at her policies, she said a lot of what Trump said before Trump was in the picture. So I fully hope she wins that House seat in Alaska. Jen Psaki, White House Press Secretary, Circleback Psaki, left us with a lot of memories. Unfortunately, she will be leaving and heading to MSNBC to run a show. So Circleback Psaki will be replaced. And all the memories and all the circlebacks, I guess she got too stressed out. And frankly, if I was in her job, I'd kind of get tired of it too. I mean, you're up there continuously defending the worst politician in the history of the United States and the worst political administration, arguably in the world, right now. And now, who is really running the country? I think that's important that we figure this out. I obviously think the elites, or not the elites, but from a world perspective, Carl Schwab is pulling some strings and all that, and some like one world government type of stuff that's going to happen. I will be doing a video at some point on the future and what we have to look for in like shortages, government control, and all that. However, who is running the U.S.? Well, I don't think it's Biden. I don't think it's his people. I don't think it's his administration. I think Obama. I think this is clearly Obama's third term in office. I mean, Obama even said back in an interview with Stephen Colbert this.
So you know what the situation needs? Little Barack Obama.
I've said this before. People would ask me, knowing what you know now, do you wish like you had a third term? And I used to say, you know what? If I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. Wow.
So clearly there he said he wants to run the country from his pajama pants and call the shots and have an earpiece. In fact, Biden even said this month that he is the vice president to Barack Obama. Let me roll that now.
Very much. Please. My name is Joe Biden. I'm Barack Obama's vice president. And I'm Jill Biden's husband.
And our wonderful old denture-wearing gentle lady, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, also agreed that they're carrying out the Obama agenda.
Keep government open. We have to do those imminently, more imminently even, to address the full Obama agenda of building back better.
So we have Obama, Biden, and Pelosi all saying that Obama is running the show. I think that those 3 pieces of evidence are enough to confirm our suspicions that Joe Biden is not in charge of this country, and it is Obama running the show. And, the failed show, so to speak. But Biden is incapable of running anything. Let's just be real here. The guy doesn't even know where he is half the time. I mean, I could almost make a weekly segment of bloopers and reels and just garbage because of this laughingstock of a regime. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Again, I intend to do a Future of This Country episode in the near future. Until then, God bless. Have a good week. See you later.